Welcome to this episode of the GymInformer podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode, and today our guest is Craig Nelletti. Craig is the owner of 4 Warehoue Gyms in Eastern Ohio. I got a chance to go to 2 of those gyms, one of them being a gym you need to put on your bucket list, and the other one still being a super badass gym. I'm really excited to talk to Craig about his gyms. But before we get started doing that, let's take a pause and I'll show you the photos I took of the gyms when I was there. All right, Craig. Super cool gyms, especially Worcester. Ashland was badass, but Worcester is definitely a bucket list. I'm excited to talk to you about them. Can't wait to get into talking about the gyms. But before we get into that, what was your path? How did you become a gym
owner? How did I become a gym owner? I guess when I was in middle school, I was probably 8th grade, somewhere in there, about I think 14. I just decided I didn't like the way I looked in the mirror. So I decided that exercise of some form was going to have to be my fix at the time. So I started running, started lifting some weights, and I just never quit. I remember the first time I ran, I was like, that was hard. That was challenging. And then I went out and did it again the next day. And I've obviously taken days off since then, but since that time, I've never taken more than a week or 10 days out of the gym. I mean, I've never quit. I've never just taken time off. So I've always just loved the gym. I've loved what it does to your body and your mind. And so from a young age, I wanted to own a gym. And when I was 28, 29 years old, I tried CrossFit for the first time. I guess I can go back and talk a little bit about when I started my own home gym. I always had a gym in my parents' house. I always had some gym equipment that I would collect and find. And so I always had a gym from a really young age. They allowed me to have part of the basement. And so that's where it started. I was in high school when I started my gym, essentially. And just I would have people over to lift with me at times, and always trying different stuff out. But I ended up joining a gym after I moved out of the house. I joined a gym that was in town, 24-hour gym, and just had different types of equipment in there. It was a smaller gym, but I loved it there. It was a great space. You got used to the equipment there, and so just loved that gym. And ended up still working out. Powerlifting was my big thing. I always bounced back and forth between bodybuilding and powerlifting. When I first started lifting was more bodybuilding. That's what I was focused on, as I wanted to change my body. And then after years, I never ate enough food. I never had enough protein in my diet to really grow muscle. Looking back at it, I didn't know back then when I was in high school or college. I didn't really. I read articles and read things online, and I tried to educate myself. And I always read about the food, but I never took it seriously. I never took the food seriously and never ate enough food. And So I wasted a lot of years doing the wrong thing because I just wasn't eating right to change my body, you know. So
Yeah.
bodybuilding is my thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, can you imagine how bad we would have been if we'd have had YouTube like back when we were teenagers in early 20s?
Yeah, the information out there is so readily available nowadays, and yeah. So I'm a stubborn guy. Like I do what I get in my mind is going to happen is what happens, and so I decided that I was going to eat on my own plan, and it just wasn't very effective. Um,
Right.
but I learned from it. I learned what happens if you don't eat right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was bodybuilding for a long time. When I went to Ashland University, and I joined they had a powerlifting club there, and I joined the powerlifting club, and that taught me a lot. The guys there really knew the technical stuff when it comes to the deadlift, squat, and bench. So I picked up a lot of things from them and really started focusing on my strength. And that was my big focus for a long time was powerlifting. And did that for years, continued to build my home gym in the basement of my own house after college, obviously. I had a gym in the house. And I started welding and fabricating some equipment out of steel. Like I would build pushing sleds. I built a bunch of strongman logs, farmers carry implements, you name it. If I could make it out of steel, I was cutting steel up, picking stuff up from steel shops that had just extra scrap. So I was making equipment, and then I was selling some of it, pushing sleds and things on Craigslist at the time. And CrossFit Independence, they're no longer open, but this was back in probably 2010. They somewhere in there, 2010, 2012, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
They contacted me and said, we would like to buy pushing sleds from you. We want 3 of them. Can you deliver them? And I never delivered equipment. I always, had people just pick it up. But I agreed to deliver it, and I'm glad I did. Because I drove to Independence with these 3 steel pushing sleds I had built. And I walked into this gym, and there was nobody there. It was just me and one of the coaches. And you just felt the energy from this gym. It was just crazy. And I was like, I didn't know what CrossFit was. I was probably the guy that made fun of CrossFit back then. Now, before we go any further, people stop listening. I'm a believer in CrossFit. We can talk about that later, but CrossFit has its place. So I'm not saying anything like that. So I just, this CrossFit gym had this energy about it. And I talked to the guy, and I was like, I want to come back up tomorrow and do a class. So I went back up the next day and did a class, and it was just incredible. It ruined me. I thought I was a strong guy, but I thought I was in shape, but I was not in shape like I believed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just hooked at that time. I was like, this is crazy. I never knew, how you're going to do front squats and run up and down the road, in the same workout, it was just a different experience. And so I was just hooked on it at the time. And so I pursued the CrossFit career, coaching and all that. I got my certification, and I opened CrossFit Worcester. That was my first gym. I opened that in August of 2013. So I rented out a real small retail space. I paid, my rent was $750 a month, and I didn't have a lease. So I could leave, abandon ship. I could abandon ship at any time. It worked. I coached classes. I worked a full-time job. I coached in the morning. I coached after class or after work. And I had a little small space and minimum equipment, but people kept coming back, kept paying. I kept getting more members. People believed in what I was doing. And about a year and a half later, it was in December of 2014, I opened CrossFit 419 in Ashland, which is the next city over. So I had CrossFit Worcester and then CrossFit Ashland, or CrossFit 419. And quit my job at the time. So I quit my full-time job that was, paying my bills at home, and just jumped into the gyms full-time. grew both of those CrossFit gyms. I put everything I had into it. I coached as many classes at both places I could. I was cleaning everything. I was taking care of the whole business from top to bottom. I didn't have a business partner, so I had good coaches that helped me out, and we kept moving along. And then we moved the CrossFit. I moved my gyms a bunch of times, finding bigger locations. Every time I moved a gym, it would I would gain more members. Usually, I'd move to a bigger spot, a bigger location, and every time I did that, you almost saw an immediate boost of members. And so kept growing those gyms. And I was at my CrossFit 419, the Ashland gym, one day coaching, and a guy walked in and he said, I just want to get a membership where I can use your equipment. I don't want to do CrossFit. And I had this warehouse space. It was a raw warehouse. I didn't even paint it. We just literally rented it and took down some of the cobwebs and we moved in and started doing CrossFit. And so when the guy came in and asked me if he could just have a membership for the 20, I had 24-hour access on the CrossFit gym. I guess I should say that. So the 24-hour thing has always been with me. I've always wanted, I always looked at how I was operating my business from the customer's perspective. So if I'm joining a gym, if I'm the customer, I'm joining a gym, I want it to be 24 hours. I want to be able to use the gym when I need to use it. That's just in my mind, because I'll get up early, sometimes, 3 a.m. I want to go to the gym and work out before the day starts. So he asked me if he could use the gym just when I wasn't, without doing CrossFit. And I said, sure. And that moment forward, was the 24-hour gym, because I never thought about opening a 24-hour gym or having anything but CrossFit, because I was finding success with CrossFit. So I wasn't looking to do anything different, but, did the 24-hour gym thing. And I had a big warehouse of space. So I just started buying gym equipment and, just off Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and, just started bringing stuff in, and more people started showing up. They started hearing about this rugged warehouse, in this back alley of an industrial park. And that was growing. And then I opened the Worcester 24-hour gym. I opened the Worcester 24-hour gym right around the same time as the Ashland one, because I had the opportunity to rent a little more space. So I opened a 24-hour gym. At the time, it was called Primal Fitness. So I wasn't going with the warehouse gym. The Ashland location was called the Warehouse Gym in CrossFit 419. And then Worcester, I had CrossFit Worcester and then Primal Fitness.
That must have been a nightmare, maintaining the marketing for 4 different names.
Yeah. And it's always been, it was interesting. I had a different vision for that gym. And the space it was in like a pole building, but it was finished out with drywall, ceilings, and wall. So it looked more like an office space almost, with tall ceilings. And it was chopped up into a bunch of little segments. So it wasn't one big room. And I got about a year or 2 into it, and it just wasn't making a whole lot of money. So I sold it, just because I was like, it's never going to be what I want it to be here. It's just not going to work. And sold that gym. And then Ashland was just growing like crazy. Members at CrossFit and the 24-hour gym was just taking off. And I was just like, I liked the warehouse space we had, because it was just this raw, original space. But I just knew long-term it wasn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to do this forever. The novelty is going to wear off, and then people are going to want something that's, people are going to want something that's somewhat nice. So did a little shopping around and ended up finding the property in Ashland. and contacted the guy that owned it, and he sold me 2 acres. And then shopped around for some commercial builders and found a commercial builder that we thought would work. And we bought the property and built the building. So we laid it out to have 8,000 square feet would be CrossFit 419, and then 12,000 square feet would be the warehouse gym. And that's still what it is today. But I sold CrossFit 419. It's now called CrossFit Steadfast. So they still take the same space right by the warehouse. So I ended up selling, to go back a little bit, I ended up selling my CrossFit, the Primal Fitness gym, the 24-hour gym. I sold that gym. And then I ended up selling CrossFit Worcester back in, I think, 2022. I sold that to the guy that's running it now, that owns it now. He was running the gym back then. I meant to say he was the manager there, and he ended up gym, and so and it's still in operation. The Primal Fitness gym is still in operation, but it's under a different name at this time. I think it's 11 Athletics, if I remember correctly. Sold CrossFit Worcester, and then I sold CrossFit 419. I just sold in October. So it's been almost a year that I sold CrossFit 419 to CrossFit Steadfast. So then after I sold CrossFit Worcester, I bought the building in Worcester. This was in 2022-23. Sold CrossFit Worcester and then bought the Worcester building. So I bought the property that building's on. And it was a lot different at the time. We had to renovate it. We had to put the locker rooms in. We tore out all the concrete floor. We had to tear out the whole ceiling, 15,000 square feet of ceiling. We had to tear down and redo, put lights up, re-insulate. We had to put 18 structural support columns in the front part of the building. Because it was not up to code. So it's funny that it's like, hey, wait, it could be a carpet store before, and now it's condemned essentially when it changes to a gym, But nevertheless, we put 18 support columns in to keep the building from falling down. But it's in good shape. It's not a bad building. So opened that gym there. And it was interesting because, I did the whole new construction, from buying the land to building the place, and then also buying a property and then renovating it, So I've been fortunate to be able to see both sides of that. The Worcester gym was always really special to me because it's just so big. I was just always like, man, I have a vision for this place. Like, it's going to be something really cool someday. And I opened it in April of 22. Yes, April 2022. And I really, loaded it up with equipment as much as I could find. It was a pretty rugged layout, I guess. And I didn't do a whole lot after that. It was a ton of money. It was a ton of money to renovate that building, a lot more than I ever thought. And it was a lot to equip it. Even though a lot of the equipment I buy is used, it's still not free. So filling up a building, it took some money to get the building equipped. And after we opened there, I really didn't do a whole lot of renovating to it. I kind of stopped. And the beginning of this year, my whole goal for all of my gyms, the beginning of this year, was to just improve the quality. Because I had been just year after year, I was opening a gym or selling a gym. Like, it's just been constant, like, upgrades and changes. Right. And so in 2025, I was like, I don't have any plans to buy another gym or anything like that, or open one. So I was like, I'm just going to try to improve the quality. And so I've spent a lot of time this year buying a lot of different equipment and upgrading the gyms quite a bit. But I also started just doing pretty much a facelift to Worcester. So the whole front part of the building was just, it was a roller skating rink from, I think, like the 50s to the 80s, somewhere in there. So like all the people my parents' age around town always think of that building as the roller skating rink, because that's what it was for their childhood.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to buy it, you know, because it had such history. But the problem was they had this paint on the floor. It was a concrete floor, and they had this, I don't know, this ridiculously hard paint for their skating surface. And it was like a brownish yellow. It was just this really ugly, it was not a color. And it was 15,000 square feet that this paint was covering. It wasn't a small area. And so I found a guy and his wife, Tracy Williams. He's a fantastic, he's a handyman like no other. He can do, if I mention it, he'll get it done. But he came in and we rented a big grinder, and it took us, I think it took almost 2 weeks of running the grinder, like 8 hours, 10 hours a day, to just grind the paint off. And it was dusty and it was loud and it was a mess and it was terrible. But we took the paint off and clear coated it, so it's just bare concrete now. He painted the entire front, all the black. He painted the whole thing. Put a bunch of the lights up. What else did he do? We've just done a lot. And actually, just this week, we started putting fans up, the big fans.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have really any fans or airflow, and we it's hot in the summer. We don't run AC. And so I've got a bunch of the big fans going up. I think we're doing 8 total fans.
Oh, wow.
We're doing 8 big fans in that building. So we're getting some air moving around. And we built out a spot for my fiance now, Carrie. She's going to be doing nails in the gym. We've got a little spot where she's going to have a closed off section to do people's nails. And we have another section that was supposed to be a supplement store. But that deal fell through, which is no hard feelings on my end. It just didn't work out. But I have that space. I'm sure you saw it behind that fence. Yeah. So I'm still looking for someone to move in there. I put an ad out for a tattoo or a piercer. I always thought it'd be cool to have a tattoo artist in your gym. But then we have the yoga studio there as well. So Steve runs Divum, his yoga studio there. He's doing a great job. He's really got it looking pretty nice. I'm trying to think what other upgrades we did. Well, we're upgrading the whole software system, but yeah. So I guess my whole this whole year has just been a crazy amount of upgrades at the Worcester gym.
Yeah, that's awesome. So to get into like a little bit more about the gyms, like both of the gyms that I was at were very like old school, and I'm assuming the other two probably are too, because that just seems like that's your jam. Is that what you were going for? And like, was there a method to picking, because you have some really cool old school pieces, was there like, from an equipment standpoint, was there a method to the madness of like what equipment's going to go in that big gym? Because neither of the gyms are small. I mean, Worcester's huge, but even Axman's not a small gym.
Yeah. Well, you know, I guess with any of the gyms, I always look at it because it's like that's where I work out. And I just always think, what do I want here? You know, what would make this, you know, somewhere that I would want to work out at. Sorry.
No, you're
right. I always think, you know, I work out here. What should I do? And that's pretty much literally how I put the gyms together is, you know, I I don't want a deadlift platform by my front door where people walk in and are just getting to the gym if I'm trying to focus on deadlifting, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the same, I don't want to put the treadmills at the very back of the gym where people have to walk through everyone in the gym if they just want to walk on the treadmill. So I try to lay the gym out so it's user friendly, so people are so things make sense, I guess. But as for the equipment, I strictly go by how the machine feels.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm very almost I'm new equipment, like brand new equipment, almost has to prove itself to me. Like I'm
Yeah.
almost skeptical. I'm almost skeptical of everything I see and try. Uh, and I don't just fall in love with it just because it's a certain brand or whatever. I just need to
Right.
try it myself and just be honest with, do I
Mm-hmm.
like this or not? Yeah, so I guess the age doesn't really matter as long as it's a nice piece and it's got a good feel to it.
Yeah, and I think you had a couple of new pieces, but most of the pieces I saw were all like old school pieces.
Yeah, I actually am working with Mega Mass and Max Pump Sport. I'm emailing with them right now about some new stuff. I'm curious. I've never owned any Max Pump Sport equipment, but I've looked at it. I've tried some of it, and I've talked to another gym owner that I really admire, and he's seems to be a fan. So I'm going to give it a shot with some new stuff.
Yeah. Um, I like some of their stuff. It's just like any other new equipment line. Um, there are some pieces that are amazing. There are some pieces that are
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm fairly confident in the ones I'm ordering, and their prices are pretty good in my opinion. I don't think they're real, and that almost was a red flag. Was like, wait, this seems like a really good deal. So I was like, well, it's cheap, so I guess I'll give it a shot. It's not like I'm forking over a ton of money for some.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's funny, like talking about the new companies, like as soon as you think you got a handle on which companies are really good, then another one pops up or
yeah. Yeah, there's some great stuff coming out. I mean, I when I travel, I go to other gyms as much as I can because that's where I learn. I mean, take
mm-hmm.
good, you see the good and the bad at all of them.
No, 100%.
And I always try to take whatever I can from it and just get a feel for the vibe. Because I think that's really. I've been to some really, really well equipped gyms and had really bad workouts just because it just didn't. It was just a weird environment.
Oh, 100%. I think atmosphere is so important.
Yeah, especially just there's something about that. That's
Mm-hmm.
like how does the gym make you feel, when you walk
Mm-hmm.
in? So
Yeah, and I say all the time that equipment might get them in your gym, but atmosphere is probably going to keep them there.
yeah, 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 that's exactly right. Yep.
If you like, if Worcester had a terrible atmosphere, it wouldn't matter that it was that
Right,
equipment.
right.
You know. Uh, Now, as far as the warehouse goes, like you talked about like how you got to like naming Ashland the warehouse and how you got the warehouse vibe. Like now, like all of them are the warehouse, and they've all got this warehouse vibe, that old school concrete floor. None of the equipment matches.
Mhm.
It's just like big open. Did that kind of come about like on accident, or is that something that you always liked and loved and wanted a gym like that?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in like being able to envision what you want. Like if I don't have a vision if I can't see in my mind what I want a gym to look like, I'm not gonna do it. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
not gonna work. You have to. And it might take you some time, but like I guess I've always had a vision with all of them. It's like this is what I see it looking like.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say Worcester, I did definitely change up a lot. So, but I will, it's what I had a vision for in the beginning. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while, but we finally got to really changing some things, and it's been a good year.
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got super deep pockets, you can't throw a gym like Worcester size together overnight and not make it change overnight. I mean, change it over time.
Yeah. It's been exciting though, just to see like that gym change and develop, and people come in and see it, and it's just I just feel really fortunate that that I have the support to be able to do it, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, and as far as Worcester goes, like, just for anyone who hasn't been there, how big is it?
I think there's roughly like 25,000 people in the city limits.
I mean the gym. It's 27,000, or is it bigger than 27,000?
Oh, the square footage. Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
that's fine.
it's 27,000 square feet.
Yeah, I thought that's what I saw online. So 27,000 square foot gym. And I thought your organization in it was really interesting in that, like, the two different sections are almost perfectly organized by body part.
Yeah.
But there's two different sections. Like, there's the selectorized or pin loaded, or however people want to call that area, and then there's the plate loaded equipment, and they're essentially two different rooms. But in those two different rooms, they're almost perfectly organized by body part.
Yeah.
What was the thought process on keeping all the pin loaded together in that first section and having all the plate loaded together in the back section?
Well, simply just that is that I was just trying to picture what it would look like if I had plates scattered all over the whole building rather than in the back. And I couldn't picture it. I couldn't picture how I would do, because you notice in the front we don't have any rubber floor. It's all concrete, all the pin select machines, because ideally you're not dropping anything heavy on the floor up there. But yeah, that was it. I just couldn't picture in my mind. I was like, I don't really know how this would work for me. But I mean, you definitely could make it work. It would just be, I would at least want to put a lot more rubber flooring in, or I don't know. I guess I just never had a good vision for how to lay it out like that.
Yeah, no. And I've seen both, and I think different gym owners can make both work. I think the only challenge to have them separated is if somebody wants a superset.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Because then you got a little bit of especially at a gym your size, it's like, that's a wall.
Yeah, it is. Like you probably wouldn't even want to do that,
No, you wouldn't want, especially legs. You wouldn't want to superset legs.
No,
with a pin loaded and a plate loaded, because that's a good quarter-mile walk almost.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, going off of your concept, I think what the idea would be is to take some of the pin loaded things, just one or two of each thing, and swap them with some of the stuff that's in the back. Because if you had a leg extension, a pin loaded leg extension, a pin loaded leg curl in the back, people might, that might be handy.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems to be really working for you. So
yeah, it is different though, because I know when I work out there, I think of my workout in two separate parts. Like, I'll do the back gym, I'll do something, and then the front. But I don't like go back and forth really.
Yeah.
So, but I've never had a bad workout there either. So.
Right. No, I can't imagine having a bad workout in that gym.
Yeah, but no, I get what you're saying, and it's an interesting thought. Now, if I had enough rubber flooring and just wanted to cover the whole thing, it would be interesting to lay it out like you're saying, like if you put everything together from one body part. That would be interesting.
Yeah, because that whole front section, you could fill with the amount of equipment you have. That whole front section could just be legs.
Yeah, it just would be.
Yeah, and then the back area would just be like all upper body.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting.
I wouldn't want to be the person that had to move all that equipment, but let me know if you ever do it, and I'll come back.
Yeah. When I moved that gym in and put it all together, I used a tow motor. They left it there when they moved it. The company moved out, and so I was moving everything with a tow motor, which was pretty nice. But
that made it a lot easier.
Yeah, but then now, it's all by hand now. So
yeah. So we talked about like a lot of things that you're doing really well, and I think like at least in the two gyms that I was at, and I'm sure the other two gyms are really cool, and I hope to get to see them potentially next time. But you're doing a lot of things really well. Is there anything that you wish at this point you were doing better?
That I was doing better?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I had a better sales kiosk. I mean, there's things like that that I need to clean up and, take care of. I think having a software system in place for your memberships is important. I think it's really important to make sure that if, you have the right software for what you're doing.
Oh, you mentioned you were changing the software when I was there.
Yeah, we're upgrading everything, all the gyms. So it'll be nice now because at the warehouse at Ashland, Worcester, or Medina right now, you can actually get on your phone and pay for a day pass or membership and then check in and open the door at the gym 24/7. So
Nice.
That'll be really cool. I'm really excited about that because that's always an issue. Like with every other business, it's hard to get people, especially because I would only have one or two staff working at one time. So it was always, tough if they're not there, there's no, you can't sign up for a membership, so it's always been, I've had great staff. I'm not saying that they're not good. They don't show up, but life happens, so
Right.
you can't have, things happen. So it'll be nice to not have to worry about that.
Yeah, and especially like in a place like Worcester, 27,000 square feet. If you get even two people working, if one of them's like in the back part and one of them's over in another part, like
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a good situation. That I didn't really think through when I was opening the gym. I was just like, this is a massive building and I'm going to pay less than I would pay for rent for it. So let's let's just proceed.
oh, it's a badass gym. I mean,
Thank you.
I definitely call it a bucket list. So
Yeah, thank you.
and it's super cool that like who would think that Ohio has multiple bucket list gyms?
Yeah, there's some great gyms in Ohio. Yeah.
So,
There's not
and
much else to do there. We have to do something indoors.
And they're both the two best ones I've been to aren't even in areas that you would like expect. Like they're not in Columbus or Cleveland. They're like in Worcester and Tip City and like like,
Right. I get it. Yeah, because I always wonder because I always travel around to other cities and Cleveland and Columbus are close for me, and I always am like, man, what would people think if I was able to take the Worcester gym and just like drop it right in downtown Columbus?
the only problem is it would cost you 4 times as much.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it would never be a possibility, but I was like, that would just be cool to be able to do,
Yeah. So at this point, you've had the gyms for several years. You've got 4 now, right?
Yes.
So at this point, like, what is the future of the Warehouse Gym? Are you content with having the 4 gyms? Will there ever be a 5th gym? Do you think you're going to downscale any? Are you going to move to any other part of the country? Or are you just happy with where you are and you just want to keep making the gyms better?
Well, we actually I believe we have a purchase agreement signed for a new building. North of Fairlawn, we're hoping to buy the building there, and we will open a 5th location.
Okay, so a new one's coming already.
Yeah, we're wanting to keep. We want the goal. So I guess I never said this on the podcast. My Ashland, Worcester, and Ontario gyms are just my gyms. I'm the only person that owns those. The Medina gym, I have 3 business partners in. So those guys are wanting to open more locations, and that's all I'm really interested in. I'm not really interested in opening another location on my own at this point.
Right.
Those guys really, they complement my lack of skill very well. They have a lot of knowledge and things that I don't have. Where I have the gym knowledge. And so it's really been fun to put the Medina gym together with them. But that's who we're wanting to continue, expanding with. And they want to open 10. They want to have 10 house gyms. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. I did happen to just buy Bodybuilders Gym in Akron. I don't
you
know.
bought bodybuilders?
Yeah, I bought their equipment. I bought it all from Fred.
Because
Yeah.
I was talking to the owner of Buckeye Gym there, just outside of Akron.
Yeah.
He was telling me he thought that was going out of business.
Yeah, so they got Fred sold the building. So there's a developer coming in to tear everything down and build something there. So they were kind of offered him, say, whatever you want for it, we're willing to pay it. And so he sold the building and then needed to sell the equipment. And one of the guys that works for me at Worcester, actually, he works out there in the mornings a lot. And he's like, hey, my gym is closing that I go to. And so I got a hold of Fred and I was able to go up. I had never been to Bodybuilders before. I'd heard about it, but I'd never been there. And just as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, there's something about an older gym that you just you're like, this has got some life coming out of the walls here. Like, this isn't just your regular old building. So it was one of those. And I did a walkthrough and looked at everything and talked to Fred quite a bit, got to know him and met a bunch of the guys up there. And Fred and I were able to work out a deal on the equipment. So he's closing October 28th, I believe. And so I've got a few days after that to get it all moved out. Now, one really cool thing, you might think this is neat. So I told Fred that I said I tried to explain to him, I was like, I really like gym equipment. I think some of the stuff you have is really neat. And a lot of it's very nice. And I said, if I buy your equipment, I said, I would like to put your Bodybuilders logo and the established date on it, on all the pieces. I want to get custom stickers made. So like, unless someone peels it off, everyone will know like, oh, that was, a Bodybuilders piece. And he really liked that idea. And then he wants to cool. Yeah, he wants to do a collaboration with the Warehouse and do some apparel that's got the Bodybuilder stuff on there. So yeah, really cool. Cause I told him right up front, I was like, I want to have this equipment live on, I was like, we need to get something stuck on there so people will always know like this was an original piece from Bodybuilders.
I love that. I love the fact that you respect the history of that gym. That's super cool.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I just told Fred, I said, my hope is that one of my gyms makes it this long, that would be just an accomplishment,
Because he's been open since the 70s?
79.
Yeah. So like almost my entire life. And I'm not young.
5 years before I was born, It's just, this awesome. Yeah. So we're going to he's going to give us the sign that's out front. He just got a new sign for the building. But I'm going to put that in the Worcester gym, I think, somewhere. I'm going to put it on the wall in the back.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So we're going to make take a lot of the stuff from there that we can display and why not, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, use that history.
Yeah, but I think the plan is we're probably going to divide some of the equipment up between the gyms, and depends in the next month or two, we'll know if we're going to get this new place, and then we can go about probably a lot of it will go up there if we take it.
Yeah. So. And that's going to be the challenge at this point in expanding and staying with your brand is finding the equipment.
I don't think it's that hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I guess I I guess it depends. I'll buy equipment that's like functional, works, but yeah, the frame's a little rougher than it needs to be, or this or that, with the idea that it'll be at the gym for a couple months until I sell it because I found something better.
Right.
You know, so I guess when I buy equipment, I'm never like, unless it's brand new, you know, if it's brand new, then I'm probably planning to keep it. But a lot of the equipment I always buy it with the idea that like, okay, could I sell this tomorrow or next week for what I'm paying for it or more? And if the answer is yes, then I'll buy it usually, you know.
The great things about used equipment.
You what?
That's one of the great things about old school equipment is.
Yeah, just I mean, the parts are hard to find sometimes for them, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I just always try to make a good decision when I buy a piece of equipment that, you know, is it worth what they're asking? Can I get my money back from it, or just wasting
Yeah.
if I want to get rid of it? So
Yeah, I mean, and if you slap a piece of Body Master or Nautilus or something up on any kind of sales site, it's not going to last long.
no, and he's got. I mean, have you been to bodybuilders?
I haven't.
So he's got it's a huge collection of Nebula, Body Masters, Nautilus, and Generation 2 hammer strength.
Wow.
I mean, it's a crazy setup of equipment. I mean, I'm excited to get it and put it, clean it up and, you know, get it recovered if it needs new vinyl. And
and some of that old school Nebula stuff is like so cool, especially with you guys having Tom Island right there in Ohio too.
Yeah, he's got the 35-degree leg press.
Okay.
He's got the what do they call it? The power squat. I don't even know what it
Yeah.
looks like. It looks like the V squat kind of. Then he's got the little the one with the lower back piece on it, but it's like the squat, like hammer.
Kind of like it's like a hack squat.
Yeah, they call it like the linear squat, I think,
Yeah.
something like that. Linear press or. Yeah, and then he's got the calf, the plate-loaded calf. So it's really cool. It's like, wow, that's
nice.
The whole line of those pieces. He's got the old Generation 2 Nautilus pullover. He's got the Nautilus rear delt, Nautilus lateral. Then he's got a bunch of Body Masters benches and stuff with the arched back and really cool stuff. He's even got the Nebula, the kneeling where you do dumbbell rows. Have you ever seen those little dumbbell benches? He's got the Nebula.
Wow.
He's got the Nebula sissy squat. Just a lot of really cool stuff there that I can't.
Yeah. And there's some Nebula pieces out there. I'm still finding like the day after I was at your gym. I was at a gym in New York.
Yeah.
And the guy had almost a full line of Nebula pin selected, and he had this crazy seated row that I've never used at any other gym, and I've been to over 300 gyms now.
Is it one? Are you like almost sitting on the floor with it? Is it?
Yeah.
I love that thing. It's got the bar. It's like a curl or easy curl bar handle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That thing is great. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Like you never see them. Like I've not seen that one in any other gym hardly.
Yeah. Yeah. They're rare.
So yeah, it's super cool. So I don't want to like before we've been over here for a little while. I don't want to take up all of your day. But before I let you go, at this point, you know, being a guy who's already opened 4 gyms, you're doing a fantastic job. You built a bucket list gym. There's a lot of people out there that would like to be in your shoes. Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to open a gym or has one gym and is hoping to someday expand and open multiple gyms?
I mean, I tell people all the time that if you're really passionate about a gym and you like gym equipment and you're interested in it, like you should pursue opening a gym because you can run them a lot of different ways. You know, they don't have to be in massive places, but I guess the number one thing is you need to learn gym equipment because that's what you're dealing with. You know, if you're going to own a gym, that would be like, you can't sell cars if you don't know anything about cars, right? So you need to know about gym equipment if you're going to own a gym. And I think that's overlooked a lot, you know.
100%.
in my mind, your gym should never be, my gyms are never finished. Like they're never done. It's always going to get better. It just would be a weird thought to me to be like, oh, I'm only going to replace something once a year, or you're going to wait until something breaks before you replace it rather than just replace it because there's a better machine. You know, so that's really where I'm at with it is like, I don't look at it like, oh, I have one of those and that's just how it is. It's like, no, I want new stuff. Like, I don't want to come in here and look at the same stuff for 30 years. Because there's going to be better stuff out there.
And that's one of the reasons that your members are like both the gyms I went to, everyone spoke so highly of you. And it was super cool that at both the locations, almost everyone I spoke to knew who you were.
Yeah.
And they spoke very highly of you. And I think that's part of the reason why is because you're constantly updating the gyms and constantly making them better.
Yeah.
And they feel like that you care about them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it goes with any career path or business ownership path. Like, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. Because if I wasn't, I would have quit a long time ago. Like, you just can't, you just have to really truly love what you do. And then then you'll be fine, I think, because then you won't want to give up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just it. If you're owning something, if you're doing something, or, just, get out of it, go do something else that you really want to do. I think you'll be better off. Yeah. So no, I love I just am grateful that I have the ability that I can get some new equipment for the gyms, That's no better feeling for me than pulling into the gym with brand new equipment for the members. And none of the members' membership prices have ever gone up. Like, I've never raised their rates. There's if they join right away, they're still paying a really low fee. So it's just been a really cool process to see, like, bring your friends and, the community here, and we'll build it. I just look at it like I'm the ambassador for their money. It's like, you guys all trust me to build a gym here. I'll get you some nice equipment.
Nice. Yeah, I was actually surprised by your rates.
Yeah, it's not. I think they're pretty good.
I think they're cheap.
Yeah, for 4 gyms.
The area. I mean, you're in a more of a rural area of Ohio. And I understand the area as well, but for the gyms that you have, it's immensely affordable rates.
Yeah. Especially since now you can go to all of them.
Yeah.
So,
and a $10 day pass for Wooster.
Yeah.
Like, if you're watching this podcast, you can get into a bucket list gym for $10. Like, that's crazy.
You can.
Yep. So get to Wooster, Ohio, and go to that gym. You will not be disappointed in that $10 spend.
I appreciate it.
So I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for this time. This was awesome.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.